Welcome back to Maintenance Break. I'm Pete, and as always, I've got Drew across the table from me.
G'day Pete, good to be here, though the topic today is a bit of a heavy one, isn't it?
It is, mate. It's one of those stories that makes your stomach do a bit of a flip if you've spent any time climbing around any mobile or field equipment. We're looking at recent Safety Alert SA26-02 out of the Hunter Valley. There's a link to the alert in the show notes. A worker just doing a standard clean for a maintenance down day on a Hitachi EX5600 excavator fell 4 metres. 4 metres, Drew, because a guardrail stanchion they leaned on just snapped.
4 metres. That's not a trip, Pete. That's a life changer. Multiple leg fractures, months of rehab, and it comes back to how we modify equipment and, more importantly, identify or fail to identify defects.
Exactly. And you know how we do things here. We're looking at this through the Jebs PCR Triad: performance, cost, and risk. Because this wasn't just a freak accident, it was a failure of the system.
Spot on. Let's start with the performance side. People think safety is separate from reliability, but they're two sides of the same coin. If an asset is shedding parts or guardrails are falling off, your performance is already suffering.
100%. This Hitachi, the EX5600, it's a beast. High utilization, right? But the investigation found that the failed section was supporting an aftermarket access platform where modification left only a single stanchion supporting the handrail. Now, from a performance standpoint, that platform was designed to make maintenance easier and faster. But because the engineering design didn't consider all the potential impacts of the modification, it was putting stress on a single stanchion with no redundancy if it failed.
And that's the trap, isn't it? We improve the asset to boost performance, but we introduce a hidden defect. The report says there was a crack there, a crack that had been there for a while. It survived daily pre-starts by operators, fortnightly inspections during PMs, and 3 monthly dedicated structural inspections.
And that's what gets me, Drew. If a structural inspector walks past a cracking on a primary safety device used every day, handrails, what else was missed? Or are we just rushing the job, tick and flick, to get it back out?
It's the latter, Pete, and that's where the cost comes in. Everyone wants to save a buck. Don't spend too long on the wash bay, or we'll fix that ladder next shut. But look at the cost of this failure.
Oh, it's astronomical. You've got the human cost first, which you can't put a price on. But then you've got the site shutdown, the resources regulator crawling over the machine, and now every mobile asset in the fleet has to be inspected for access modifications that might introduce the same failure through a single stanchion post.
It's the iceberg effect. The cost of fixing that weld during the scheduled shut, maybe a few $100 in consumables and a couple of hours for a coded welder. The cost of not fixing it, you're looking at millions in lost production and potential fines.
Absolutely, and that leads us straight into risk. We talk about risk as a calculation, likelihood times consequence. But in the real world, risk is often just blindness.
People get equipment blind. They see a bit of rust or a bent rung on a ladder every day for 6 months, and it just becomes part of the scenery. But the alert says this ladder was already missing rungs. It had been damaged by rocks during operations, and no one put it out of service.
That's the normalisation of deviance, mate. We let the standards slide because it's always been like that. But as a maintenance professional, your job is to be the one who says, no, that's a defect. The risk is unacceptable.
It's about the quality of the identification.
So if we look at the PCR balance here, we tried to chase performance with a modification, we ignored the small costs of repair, and we ended up with the maximum risk realisation. A worker on the ground with broken legs.
So how do we stop it, Pete? How do we make sure our mates listening don't have this happen on their watch?
It starts with the eyes on asset culture. If you're doing a structural inspection, you aren't looking for shiny paint. You're looking for the failure mode. You've got to be cynical. Assume the weld is cracked and make it prove to you that it's not.
Mate, I like that. Guilty until proven innocent. And for the operators doing the pre-starts, if you see a guardrail that wobbles or a gate that doesn't latch, don't just work around it. That's your last line of defense before a 4-meter trip to the hospital.
100%. And for the management side, check your modifications. If it's not from the OEM, make sure a full engineering assessment and verification of the modifications has been undertaken.
It's about respect for the machine, isn't it? And respect for the people climbing on it.
It is. All right, let's wrap this up with a brake tip.
What have you got for us today?
This week, when you're out on an excavator or walking around the plant, have a critical look at the walkway guardrails and stanchion posts that help keep you safe every day you're out there. If you see an issue, don't assume someone has already reported it. Follow through and see it captured in your CMMS. It's those actions that help keep your mates safe at work.
Mate, love it. Everyone can make a difference when it comes to safety.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, we want everyone going home the same way they came in. Now, if you found this an interesting safety share and you want to discuss at your next pre-start, be sure to check out this toolbox talk along with others on our website at www.jebsadvisory.com. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a mate. Until next time, take care.
And keep those assets running.